Hi everyone, welcome to WealthAbility Live. My name is Hannah. I help you to discover your ability to create wealth. And again, this is WealthAbility Live. It's a weekly live streaming show that helps you to talk about every areas related to wealth. Either it can be health or it can be the money mindset, as well as the practical guidance about money and tax. Hi, Jackie. Thank you for joining. So if you are joining me live, be free to comment and say hi. And so I know you are here, and be free to interact and ask any questions at any point. And if you're watching replay, welcome to the replay. And again, even if you're watching replay, you're more than welcome to comment and ask any questions. So I will be able to reply to you by the comments. Okay, so today we're talking about how to keep your finances in order, even if you're allergic to spreadsheets. So I think when it comes to like using spreadsheets and keeping do the data entry, a lot of people, of course, I know there are some people that they really like it. There are some people just like to crunching numbers and like to use spreadsheets and do the data entry work. But there are some people, they just claim that they are allergic to it. They just don't really want to do it. But in the end, doesn't matter you like it or not, we all have to keep our finances in order, especially now more and more people start working for ourselves. So either for the business finance, for business is very important because we have to do self-assessment every year, the tax return every year that requires, as well as if you're running a limited company, doing annual accounts, all this annual filing, it is required. But of course, it's also important for personal finance. It is not like that. It's not a requirement of you to submit accounts for your personal finance. Of course, that's very personal for you. But in the end, it's for you to keep your finances in order. Make sure it's easier for you to track where the money goes. So that's important. Of course, the most, perhaps the cheapest way at the moment, that would be just pulling out the spreadsheets, adding up all the income and adding up all the expenditures, maybe put them in the different categories. So that is a very basic one. But of course, there are people think it's really time consuming and it is they don't like it. So for me, I'm one of those ones. I'm really comfortable with numbers. I'm really comfortable with reading the financial statements and everything. I'm trained as accountant and I'm a number person. But for me, spreadsheet, I think there are a lot of disadvantages of using the spreadsheet, especially the data. When you enter the spreadsheet, what if it's halfway and the data is not saved? And then suddenly something happens, all your data has gone. And also, it is very easy to edit because if you make a mistake, you can just easily wipe it out and then do it again. But sometimes, if some people, they just want to put an artificial figure, that is very easy, just to put anything randomly. So there are some disadvantages of a spreadsheet. And of course, it is quite time consuming as well, because all the manual data entry, it does take quite a chunk of time. So you might need to block out some time to just do this. But currently, because I'm really, I'm a big fan of cloud accounting. Currently, there are a lot of new technologies, things like new accounting software like Xero or Receipt Bank. So these are the things that are designed to make all this financial data entry process easier, especially if you have been using spreadsheets to adding up all the expenses receipt bank is a really good replacement that can make it fun, make your life easier. So all you need to do is download the app on your smartphone and to take a picture. The system itself will extract the data, and then it will go to your accounting system. So you don't really have to type in all the data and type in all the numbers. The system does most of them for you. So yes, first of all, if you are quite allergic to spreadsheets, good news is there are lots of new technologies out there nowadays. So embrace the new technology, especially cloud accounting, all these things, all this new technology, they are designed to make our life easier and to make this data entry process a lot seamless. Even it doesn't really require data entry at all, and then it saves you time, and then it's fun to do as well. It's more fun to take pictures than enter the data in the spreadsheets. So yes, if you don't like the spreadsheets, but doing the finance, doing your numbers is required. And then embrace all the technologies. I would say a lot of accounting system, like a cloud accounting system, the mainstreaming one. I would suggest go for the mainstreaming one like Xero or QuickBooks. All this system is a matter of personal choice. But the reason why I mentioned the mainstreaming one, like the bigger ones, because in the end, all this accounting system is served the one principle, and perhaps the smaller ones in the end they will come merge with the bigger ones. So that's what might happen in this industry. So that is why it's probably safer to go for the mainstreaming ones, like the ones like Xero or QuickBooks, so that it's more stable for you. So if you are allergic to spreadsheets, have a look around all these new technologies. The other thing you want to consider, you might be wondering, is that does that cost you money? Yes, there will be subscription fees, but accounting system used to cost like thousands of pounds each year, but nowadays it's just as little as like £20 a month. So it's now become really affordable, and all these new technologies, they are designed to make our life easier, make things cheaper, and also more fun to do. So my first tip for you is look around the technology, look around this entry list system that are designed to make your life easier. And the second thing, if you really think adding up the numbers, doing the numbers is too complicated, I would say you don't really have to overcomplicate things to be financially savvy. One thing I would say, you just need to prioritize what's important for you. So if you're running a business, making profit is a priority, then prioritize the profits. So of course you can outsource other like heavy lifting to accountant or your bookkeeper, which I will talk about outsourcing in a bit. But for you, your job, it just really makes things as simple as possible for you and as fun as possible for you, and you can just outsource the rest. So the job for you to do, if you are like running a business, making profit is a priority, then prioritize the profit. So one thing I think it works for any sort of business who are profit oriented. That is, every time you make a sale, you just directly deposit a small amount of money into the separate bank account, into a separate saving account. So out of sight, out of mind. So that's your profit. And then the rest of money, you can use them to, pay the bills and spend. So that concept is actually from pay yourself first concept, because when we want to be financially free, eventually we want to make sure we save for our future. So if that saving for our future is a priority, every time you have any income, what you prioritize you deposit that money first. So you automatically deposit a small amount of money, so pay yourself first, and then spend the rest. When you don't have enough money in your bank account to spend, then that's the time you have to stop. That's the time. It's not say you have to dig into the savings and to spend. It's not. That's the time you have to think about cutting your costs. So it's the same as business. Don't think about, of course, like in theory, budgeting and the cost control. These are fantastic. But that barely worked in reality because there are lots of uncertainties. And what we plan, we always need to make adjustments. Of course, if you do have a finance team and like budgeting is still important, especially when your business become more complicated. But if you're if you're running a simple business and you want to make life easier, make life for you easier. So your job, very important, that is prioritize what matters to you the most. So if profit matters the most for you, then prioritize it. And other things you can do a little bit more advanced on this system. Things like you can set up also the tax account. Make sure you deposit a small amount on your tax as well, because when you are making profits, you have to pay tax. So just to give you a little bit guideline, there's no golden percentage for everyone because different businesses are different. But I would say if you starting out, start putting 1% of this account, each of them, and then eventually you can increase. So, profit account is for your profits and also for you. Later on, you might want to use the money to reinvest into your business, and the tax account, that's a reserve for you to make sure you have the money to pay tax when it comes to the deadline, rather than spend all and then when it comes to the tax deadline and there's no money to pay the tax. So yes, make it easier. Just set up like different bank accounts whenever you make a sale and deposit a small percentage of the money to this account and then spend the rest. So the second tip for you is really don't have to overcomplicate things. Prioritize what matters to you the first and then let the rest run itself. Okay, the third thing, of course, we will talk about hiring bookkeeper, hiring accountant later on. What if you're just starting out and you don't really have the budgets to outsource everything and you have to do it? So yes, that's the point. You have to do it. It doesn't matter what. And also, I would suggest when you are starting out, it's always good for you to get familiar with how the accounting works. Just get to know some basics. Of course, at the beginning, your business is very simple and might not be many transactions. So you can start using any of the system and start putting the things into the system and know how the accounting works, how the financial statement works, and what sort of report is important, how to understand profit and loss. So all these basic things, I would suggest when you don't have the money to outsource, it's always good for you. It's a good learning opportunity for you to get used to it, get comfortable with the numbers, because eventually when your business become more complicated, when it grows, it's an essential part of it. So at the beginning, take this opportunity to learn. And also, I always suggest to see it as a sense of self-care rather than some chores, because at the moment I actually tidy up even for my personal finance. I collect all the receipts and then update in my system every week. So I want to see exactly where my money goes, how much money I spend on certain things. Did I spend a little bit more than before, and why is that? So I want this sort of clarity. It just becomes part of the life. It just like when you are used to healthy living, when you are used to exercise regularly, you don't really want to reverse. And when you stop exercising, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable. So that's just for me. If I don't update my system, if I don't look at where my money goes, and I don't feel really comfortable. So I think when you say it's too complicated, it's daunting, perhaps that's just something in your mind. I would always suggest at the beginning, at least give it a try, and you might find it's not that complicated, especially with all these technologies. It's actually fun to do, and also it gives you so much clarity. That is more of sense of self-care. You know where your money goes, so you know how to control it, rather than blindly let the money come and go and have no idea where it goes. So yes, get comfortable with it, understand the basics, understand how it works, and then get used to it and see it as an act of self-care rather than some sort of chores. Okay, so that's my third tip. And my final one, that is about outsourcing. So of course, when your business grows, when you have a certain budget, you are able to outsource, hire a bookkeeper, hire an accountant to look after this for you. And yes, hiring experts in your business, that is very important in your finance. Especially accountants can help you to maximize the tax deductions, and your bookkeeper can take care of all the heavy lifting, especially when your business is becoming more complicated. They are able to take care of the heavy lifting, so your finance system is more streamlined and easier for you. So here, of course, on one side, you want to make sure it's hiring this kind of professional outsourcing, it fits your budgets. And on the other side, you want to make sure it's the right one for you. So for outsourcing bookkeeping, because bookkeeping is for us, it's quite a basic. It's more of the admin, and nowadays bookkeeper, if they are familiar with the technology, they can just simply work anywhere. Because for us, we do have a team in India. They are very familiar with with our accounting software. So doesn't matter where in the world they are, and you can easily outsource these kind of things cheaply with people in India or in the Philippines. But of course, on one thing, I think I have both good and bad experience in terms of outsourcing. Always have a little bit trial before you actually commit. So have a bit try, give them some tasks to do, and see if they are reliable, if they complete the tasks on time, if they are competent, if they are good enough. So at the moment, of course, for me, if I outsource this bookkeeping to a qualified accountant in India, it's still very cheap for me. So it can be a very good option for you when you start to scale up and you have some budgets, and then it can be a very cost-effective way for you to outsource. So that can be done. Of course, you can also hire in-house or any bookkeepers. Anyone fits your budget, anything that works for you. Perhaps you rather someone come in-house to do your bookkeeping if you are afford to do. And if you trust that person, then that's good for you as well. Eventually, you want to make sure you make all these things, all the investments, all this money you invest, they make your life easier. And also about hiring accountants. Of course, it's a lot of people ask a lot of questions how they can make sure they hire the right accountants. I would always suggest if you run a business, hiring one who thinks more like a business owner rather than an employee. Because I know from my experience, me as a business owner, I know the financial pressure a business owner has to face. So it is important that your accountant also understands, whoever works, help you with your finance, also understand the kind of financial pressure a business owner can face. So they have this sort of a sympathy, and then they want you the best. And also the ones who tend to think like a business owner tend to think more on how to maximize the tax deductions, especially tax deductible expenses. They have better understanding of what kind of items can be, this sort of gray area, but what kind of items can actually become tax deductible. Especially you have a home-based business, like how you can claim a portion of your home use expenses to maximize your tax deductions, and also other things like when you can claim your travel, when you can claim your food. So the accountants who think like a business owner, because they have the experience in all this business thing, and they understand all the financial pressure, they understand better of the financial perspective, so they are able to help you to maximize all these deductions. So that is my tip for you on outsourcing. You want to make sure it's cost effective for you, but also you want to make sure it's someone reliable and someone who can understand your financial perspective and want you the best. Okay, so that is my tips for you, how to keep your finances in order, even if you're allergic to spreadsheets. Just a little bit recap. First of all, it's embracing the new technologies, because nowadays there are a lot of cloud accounting technologies out there designed to make your life easier, make it fun, and they are affordable to use as well. And secondly, keep it simple. So prioritize what matters to you the first. If making profits is most important for you in terms of your business finance, then prioritize it. One thing you can do is set up a separate savings account. Just save for the profits. So every time you have money coming in, you deposit a small percentage of that, and then you use the rest as expenses. That way you can really control your expenditures better. And thirdly, think it more like, more of a sense of self-care, especially when you're starting out, when you can't outsource. That's a good opportunity for you to learn the basics, because these are essential. Knowing the basics is essential for you to be financially savvy. So you might find you become comfortable with the numbers, you become more comfortable with, looking at your finances. And even you always want that sense of a clarity rather than just estimating everything. So yes, see it as an act of self-care rather than a kind of chore. And the final thing, we talk about outsourcing. When you have certain amount of budget, there are ways you can outsource your bookkeeping with a good quality, as well as it can be quite cost effective for you as well, in terms of outsourcing the bookkeeping. And if you are hiring an accountant, make sure you hire one who understands the financial perspective as a business owner, who is able to help you to maximize the tax deductions, especially when you have a home-based business, and also the ones who really understand the pain, the financial pressure of a business owner and want you the best. Okay, So I hope you find this episode useful, and if you enjoy this video, and don't forget to share, so you will be able to, so your friends or family or your colleagues who might want to know about it, they were able to see the content. And also I will be live every week, so talking about different aspects of wealth building. Wealth is not just about money, but also your health and also your mental, the inner work. So we will also bring some experts who are in this sort of area and to be interviewed in our future life. So stay tuned in my weekly WealthAbility show. Again, I hope you find this one useful. And also, if you'd like to have more in-depth resources about wealth and also practical tips about tax, be free to join my private Facebook group. So I go live every Wednesday. That's just for my Facebook group. That's a Q&A Wednesday to answer any particular questions about tax and money. So if you're interested in, and if you have questions and want to get it addressed, and also want to have more in-depth resources, so go to the link in the description. That is my private Facebook group, and then click the link and request to join, and then I shall see you on the other side. So again, I hope you enjoy this one and have a wonderful evening, and I shall see you very soon. Bye now.